Moving to another state or even another area in the same state can be stressful, but there are some basic things that you can do to make things just a little bit easier. So stick around for my top 8 tips for moving to a new state. Hi there, I'm Stephanie Frost, and I'm a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services in Ocala, Florida. I'm here every week with helpful information about all things real estate in the Ocala and Marion County area. So while you're here, take a minute to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. So, you're planning on moving to a new state, you're feeling just a little overwhelmed, and you just don't know where to begin. Well, I can help with that. So tip number 1 is plan ahead. Get to know your new area and make sure that it's going to be the right fit for you, area-wise and price-wise. When I have a client thinking about moving to Ocala from somewhere else, the very first thing I like to do is I like to set them up early with a listing feed that comes directly from our multiple listing system. That way they can see what types of homes are available that fit their needs, what the prices are like, and how fast those homes are going under contract. That gives them a good overall view of just what our market's like. They can get an idea of the home styles, prices, and general inventory. Then, once we're to the point of actually looking for a home in earnest, we can start weeding through the possibilities and narrow things down to the right areas and the right homes to suit their needs and start actually looking at homes. Assuming, of course, that they are pre-approved for a loan. There is absolutely no point in looking at homes in person before you're pre-approved. A, nobody's even going to look at a home offer in this market without a pre-approval or a proof of funds for a cash offer. And B, the last thing that you want to happen is to fall in love with a home and then not be able to buy it because it turned out to be more home than you can afford. And trust me, once you see that home, you're going to mentally compare every other home that you see to that one, and they're all going to fall short. So you'll just be dooming yourself to disappointment. Don't doom yourself to disappointment. Get pre-approved before you start looking at homes. Number 2, research movers. Don't just pick the cheapest moving company available. Do your research. I cannot possibly stress that enough. I've had clients stuck in their new home for weeks without any furniture, cooking utensils, or even much in the way of clothes because their stuff's waiting somewhere in a moving company storage until the company finds another load to fill the truck because the last load canceled on them. Or they get there to unload and suddenly there's an extra fee for mileage or whatever. It happens. So check out the reviews and the contract with a fine-tooth comb. Ask a lot of questions too, such as, do they offer any guarantees as to when your stuff will get there? What kind of insurance do they offer to protect your stuff? Or will your homeowner's policy cover you during the move? That kind of stuff. Very, very important. And if you decide to go the do-it-yourself route, which is what I always do because basically I don't trust anybody, then a really good trip is to pack both an emergency box and a parts box and load them last onto the trailer, so that they're the very first ones that you unload. In the parts box, put all the stuff that you'll need to put everything back together that you had to take apart to move, like screwdrivers, Allen wrenches, regular wrenches, a flashlight, all that kind of stuff, along with labeled bags of parts for each and every piece of furniture that you took apart to move. So when you take apart that king-size bed in the main bedroom, put all the screws and such into a little bag, label it main bedroom bed, and pop that puppy right into the box. So it's handy when you get to your new home. And in the emergency box, pack all the stuff that you'll need for camping out in your new home. Stuff like paper plates, cups, utensils, a fresh set of sheets, fresh towels, toiletries, all that stuff. Also throw in some paper towels, toilet paper, and basic cleaning supplies. Because odds are you're not going to be able to unpack everything the first day. And those 2 boxes are going to save you a ton of time and aggravation. Because you're not going to have to dig through 20 different boxes to find the bare necessities. You're going to be tired and stressed from the move, and this way you just hit the parts box for the stuff to put your bed together and the emergency box for sheets, towels, and stuff to eat with, and you'll be good to go in a pinch. And speaking of boxes, moving boxes aren't exactly cheap, so start early and save as many big boxes as you can. You can also check out local Facebook groups for people who just moved in and want to get rid of their boxes, or if you're really lucky, you might just have somebody moving into the neighborhood and you can get dibs on their boxes. Most times they'll just give them away, but even if you have to pay a little bit for them, it'll still be way cheaper than buying all new ones. Now before you start packing, gather up all of your important documents like passports, life insurance policies, birth certificates, that kind of thing, and put it all into a folder that goes with you. This is also a good time to scan everything and copy it to the cloud, or better yet, a flash drive, just in case. Accidents happen, and these are the things that can be really difficult and time-consuming to replace if they get lost. So keeping them with you during the move just makes good sense. Number 3, transfer your bank accounts. Make sure that your bank has a branch in the city that you're moving to, and if they don't, set up new accounts at a local bank in the new area. And even if your bank does have branches in your new town, still make sure to notify them that you're moving. Banks sometimes flag your account for fraudulent activity when they see several transactions in a short period in an area that you don't usually go, and that can cause problems when you're trying to buy something that you really need, like gas. I know all about that one. A couple years ago, my better half and I took a trip to Anna Maria Island for a week. First trip in years. Filled up the car here in Ocala and headed south. Got there, bought some lunch, did a little shopping, and stopped off at Publix to grab some groceries to take back to our rental. They declined my credit card 3 times in a row. All the people in line behind me were starting to give me that side eye. You know the one I mean. So I slink off to a corner to call the bank and find out what's going on, only to be told that they had flagged my account for suspicious activity because I hadn't used that card outside of Ocala in over 3 years. Which was actually true and also a really sad commentary about my life. So take my advice and let your bank know that you're moving, just in case. Number 4, also set up your forwarding address and transfer any bills, magazine subscriptions, anything like that that comes to your house. This would also be a good time to set up electronic delivery of those bills if you haven't done it already. Update your delivery address on Amazon and any other places that you get deliveries from. You don't want to just hit the buy now button when you're shopping online and then realize that you've just had that $2,000 computer setup delivered to your old address 1,000 miles away. Or worse yet, not realize it until you get that "your package has been delivered" notification in your email and there's no package on your new front porch. Number 5, set up your utilities ahead of time. Get a list from your agent of all the utility companies and their contact information and set up all your utilities to transfer over on the day of closing. That way you don't get stuck camping out with no power or water. Now some utility companies will ask for a signed closing statement before transferring the accounts, but you can usually at least open the file with all your information ahead of time, and then all you have to do is email over the closing statement right after closing and you'll be good to go. Number 7 is healthcare. Research doctors in your new state before you move so that you're prepared in case of an emergency. Contact your current health provider in advance and get copies of your medical records and any prescription information you need. You can also ask your doctor to forward everything on to the new doctor in the new state, but you're going to want to get physical copies too, just in case. And you're going to have to be prepared to go down in person to sign permission and pick up the records. If you can, opt for the 90-day refill on any prescriptions that you got so that you can have some breathing room before you need to refill them in the new place. Getting in to see a new doctor can take some time, so it's better to be prepared. If you've got pets, the same thing is going to go for your veterinarian and all your pets' medical records. I actually did another video about moving with your pets, so if you do have pets, you might want to watch that one next. Number 8, don't forget about your car insurance either. Insurance rates differ from state to state and area to area, and it's an easy thing to forget about until you have an accident, and then you have to explain to your insurance company why your policy lists an address in Nebraska, but your driver's license has one in Florida. Because you're going to have a limited time period to change over your driver's license. Here in Florida, you've got 30 days to get it changed over. So there you go. Moving to another state can be stressful, but if you just follow these 8 tips, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. And whether your next move brings you here to the Ocala area, or if you need to sell your home here so that you can move somewhere else, although I can't imagine why you'd want to leave, well, I can help with that. Just get in touch and let's get started.